podcast where two friends pick a book at least one of them has not read and work their way through it a few chapters at a time. I'm your host, Kritter.
And I'm your host, Jess.
And we finished the trilogy.
We did it! Yeah!
We finished the trilogy and The Hobbit. We started with The Hobbit. We finished the trilogy. Hi, everybody in the chat. What's up? Good to see you. It happened. We're really done.
It's a real thing.
It's a real thing. So most recently, obviously, we finished The Return of the King. Jessica, my esteemed co-host, had never read Tolkien. So I think we start with, how does it feel to no longer be a Tolkien first-timer?
I feel like it was totally worth it. I'm very excited to have kind of checked that off the bucket list. I had made it into like a big scary monster. Because at a certain point you're just like, why are you a fantasy fraud, right? Like, why would you have not have read it before now?
Yeah.
So I feel like I earned my stripes. I'm very excited about it. And it was an incredible story.
Okay.
I was just telling Mr. Jessica that this is a story that, for a story I thought I knew so well, I learned so much.
That's a great way to put it. Honestly, same. Because it had been so long since I had read them. I was so entrenched in the movies, which are still my favorite movies of all time. I will fight verbally anyone who disagrees that they are incredible. But having read the books again for the first time in what I've calculated is probably about 20 years, I had forgotten how rich and deep and so much, just like more in depth they are than the movies. It's just, it was really satisfying to read them all again, finally, after all this time.
It was so good.
And it was nice to have you along because there were some things that you just didn't know happened. Most recently, the Scourging of the Shire, right? So let's jump to the very, very end. Would you say that was the biggest deviation? Or, obviously I'm putting you on the spot here, but what would you say were some of the biggest deviations for you that you just weren't expecting, having only watched the movies?
No, I feel like that's the biggest one, so I knew that Tom Bombadil existed. I don't feel like he was hugely pivotal to the story. I didn't know about the Mouth of Sauron, which apparently I should have from the extended editions. And the forest folk, right? So the Mumakil, or the men who said they had been hunted, and I'm sorry to chat for not remembering the name of the men, who, Aragorn honored the promise to leave them in peace following the war. So those are the big things that were different, I feel like. So I do feel like the Scourge of the Shire is the biggest thing that is different.
And you didn't know that at all?
I had no idea. No idea, and no idea leading up to it, because as I've tattled on myself many times that I don't look ahead at even chapter titles. So when I opened that chapter and saw that title, I went, wait, what's this?
What are we talking about here?
Okay,
the Scourge of the Shire.
Yeah. So yeah, and I love that. I love that there were surprises. I obviously talked up a lot, all of the little things that were surprises to me, but were value adds along the way. And the big things were cool too.
Yeah. Okay.
How about you? I'd love to know if you had to name one or two or a couple of your favorite moments going back to this as an adult, for this read. Things you found that maybe you missed when you were a kid, or just maybe you didn't notice them, or they hit different.
Okay.
It's my turn to put Kritter in the hot seat.
I know. I think as a kid, when I was reading them, I was in it for, I don't say the plot, but I was in it for what happens next, what's going to happen, because I hadn't seen the movies. And so I was just engrossed in, how is this ring going to make it to Mordor? How are they going to do this? How are they going to overcome these armies that are giant and have been, waiting in Mordor to come out and kill them all? I was just inhaling it because I wanted to see what happened next. right? And so probably my favorite thing about reading them again as an adult, other than really fully appreciating the prose, I think was understanding and feeling what the characters were feeling more. So if I thought I loved Samwise Gamgee the first time around, I had no idea how amazing. If I think I said I didn't even fully remember like what I thought about Faramir the first time around, and this time immediate Faramir stan, like, oh my god, one of the best characters in the books. Like there were so many examples of that where it was just this, my heart exploded for some of these characters, where as a kid I don't know that I would have noticed how beautiful the friendship between Frodo and Sam really was, right? Because I was so focused on, oh my gosh, is Frodo going to get out of the tower? Is Frodo going to die? Whatever. This time I could really soak it in because I kind of knew it was going to happen already, and I could just appreciate it. So
awesome.
Yeah. So we got Aldora in the chat. I also had no idea about the Scourge. I've been highly suspicious of what Saruman was up to since he didn't die when I was expecting him to. I did guess Shire at one point. Okay. I was going to say, Jess, I remember whenever they decided not to kill Saruman or whatever, and they just kind of left him in the tower. You were like a little sus on it, but you know, I think I asked you like, what do you think he could do or something? And it was very much like, I don't know. So
who knows what he could get up to now?
We didn't like tip you off that he had more to come.
No, but as we talked about, like there were very clear clues in the chapter leading up to it that just went whoosh like a 747 right over the old head. So no, I don't think you ruined anything.
Okay, that's good. I felt I was like, whatever. It's always one of those like, if I have several friends who are currently reading The Wheel of Time, right? Because I am a proselytizer, if anyone is, when it comes to fantasy books, Wheel of Time especially. And every time they come up to me and ask me something, I'm always like, you know, I can't really tell them, and I just try and school my face to be like, wouldn't that be weird? I don't know, you know. Like if they come with a theory, so I really am nervous always that I'm going to give something away, but I'm glad that I didn't. Exactly.
No, you were great.
That's good. Yeah, and I think honestly doing the podcast in this format helped. Aldora kind of suggested that, like, it helped slow me down and not inhale it as much, because that's just my tendency, is to just, you know.
So that, and also talking it through, right? So I am also somebody who inhales content. It's nothing for me to sit there and try to, or back in the day, I don't think today I really have that kind of time, but I remember reading like an 800-page book in a day. Like I just did it. I don't think I would do that anymore, but I do like to read voraciously. And once I get into a book, I'll just keep going until it's all gone. So having to wait, having to talk it through, think about what I think to answer your questions, but also bounce off of you. You know, we are similar in a lot of ways, but it was always fun when we weren't, you know, the things that we weren't on the same page, or you read it one way and I read it another. It was kind of fun when those moments happened, and none of that would have occurred if we didn't take the break. So doing a buddy read, I tried to do it once before. It failed after the first week. So this was a great way to savor it.
Yeah, I agree. It's been lovely, and it's been extra lovely because we've had like people in the Discord talking to us, and people coming into YouTube, leaving comments and stuff. So that has been great to have. Not just you, but you would have been enough. Definitely, you would have been Kenough or whatever the Lord of the Rings version of that is. But
right back at you.
But at the same time, having other people to talk to about it has been great. And so, basically, like I've planned this. I've ordered a few But Are There Dragons stickers. So I'm gonna try to do like an actual chat giveaway. But because I have 2 YouTubes connected to my Streamlabs, it might not be automatic. Either way, it'll be fine because I'm gonna do that. So this is my like just to warn you all that that's going to happen. And I'm probably going to initiate the first one. I'll probably give away 2 stickers, and I'll initiate the first one in like 5 minutes, just because I know that some people are up very late to watch this, and just in case they want to go to sleep.
And we feel the love, you guys. Thank you. You know, even if you couldn't be with us live during different things, those who are coming in and dropping comments in YouTube or on social or in the Discord, like, I don't know if you know, but it really jazzed us every week. I know that Kritter and I have talked about it a couple times, how it's insane to do it like this, and that you guys really kept the energy alive for us. So waiting to see what you guys thought when a new episode dropped, just, you know, hearts, you guys. Like, it really, it meant a lot.
The kids do it.
I don't know how the kids do it. I'm legitimately too old.
Yeah, some of them do this. Others do, I think it's this, which I think is a little better. Whatever. I'm a millennial, so
yeah.
Thank you all for sticking with us. Okay, so yeah, Return of the King. This is a Return of the King recap, but it's also because we're done.
The series recap.
Series recap. So I know, and it gets harder and harder because we're further and further removed from the other books, right? But, and I didn't tell you I was going to ask you this in advance. I hope you thought about it a little bit. Do you have an order of fate? Like, how would you rank them books wise, including The Hobbit, from favorite to least favorite? And why don't we do, like, we'll both say our least favorite and then kind of go down. And let me just say that in my Goodreads, I have been trying to use my Goodreads more often. In my Goodreads, they are all 5 stars. So it's not like I'm giving 5 stars, then 4 stars, then 3 stars. No, I love them all, but I'm going to do my level best to rate them.
So I think for the purposes of least favorite, I feel like it's so common, like it's such a basic answer, but it probably is Two Towers. But to your point, it was still an excellent read.
Yeah.
You know? So I think my ranking would be Two Towers at the bottom.
Okay, hold on. We'll do it one at a time.
Okay. Yep. So Two Towers is my bottom.
Okay. I think I agree with you. I think Two Towers is also my bottom, which is interesting because it's also my least favorite of the movies, even though, again, it's incredible and I love them all. So
it's got some really great stuff that happens in there. It's got some great quotes that are in there. There's a lot of really good stuff in Two Towers. I think I might have mentioned this at one point, maybe when we did the Two Towers wrap, that I was worried that Two Towers would suffer from the middle child syndrome that I think a lot of middle books have. And so it kind of hurts a little to rate it at the bottom.
I know.
Because I think that it does so much better than I thought it would. After having read it, especially knowing going into it that, you know, Tolkien intended this to just be one giant volume.
Yeah.
So that was bottom. The next, honestly, next would be Return.
I'm right there with you. Look at us. Why are we the same? Okay.
I don't know.
That's wild.
I think we've been spending too much time together.
I think you're right. We're fully synced up. I'll jump, since you did I'll jump in here. Return of the King, to me, that one is actually my favorite movie. Even though I will say that Fellowship is the perfect movie. But the Return of the King movie makes me cry a lot. And I love how it makes me feel, basically. And so that's what brings it over the top. But as far as books go, while it did make me cry, and it's so good still, but I just think Fellowship and Hobbit are more entertaining, if that makes sense. I don't know. What about you? What do you think?
I mean, same, right? So Fellowship and Hobbit are kind of neck and neck. And I think the only thing that edges out, you know, Fellowship and Hobbit both over Return of the King is the beginning of the journey kind of vibe.
Yeah, it's a good
So
vibe.
it is. And so there's so much in Fellowship that was just such excitement because at the beginning, and I'm a completionist, so there's a lot about Return of the King that I love because, as we talked about, I think that Tolkien does a good job closing the story and tying up those loose ends. So it's a really hard choice, but I think that that's ultimately why Fellowship and Hobbit edge above it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you. So now I'm curious. I think we may differ here just based on past ratings, but what's your number
No,
2?
why don't you
Want
say
me to
your
go?
number 2?
Okay, my number 2 is Fellowship because
Okay.
I just like now I feel like I'm gonna be talking about The Hobbit because like why does it beat it? But like Fellowship surpasses the other two because
Mhm.
as you said, it's just the promise of a journey to come, right? There's so much world building that happens at the
Mhm.
beginning, which is just kind of perfectly executed, so it doesn't feel like it's too heavy. It's lighthearted in some ways because it's the Hobbit heavy at the beginning, and I love the Hobbits. I love the Hobbits. It's got the like, I don't know, it's just got so much fun stuff after Bilbo leaves and Frodo's dealing with all of his like bequeathments and stuff. Um, Tom Bombadil's hilarious. The Council of Elrond is just a huge lore drop that was, great. And then they get sent off in the Fellowship, and then you have Boromir and all of his issues, and I don't. It's a great story in itself.
Mhm.
And then it sets off this amazing journey, and it's just so
Mhm.
satisfying. So I'm holding off on talking about The Hobbit because that one's my favorite. But you go ahead. What's your number 2?
So my number 2 is The Hobbit.
Okay, I think I remember that we were different in that way. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And
Why?
so it did hold up. And I honestly I wasn't 100% sure until I just heard you talk again.
Okay.
Um The Hobbit is my number 2 because it's a self-contained story, and so I don't know how to this is hard talking about it without
I
talking about why the other one is number 1.
I
I
know.
didn't know I was setting myself up for disaster here. Um, while they're both excellent reads, um, I feel like Tolkien's craft had advanced.
Okay.
And so The Hobbit was, a sound like a drawing board that he came back to and he improved. And I also can't compare knowing now that there are different versions, right? There's different versions of the story out there.
Yeah.
Um, I think that Fellowship beats out The Hobbit because The Hobbit is where he learned so much.
Okay. That's fair. All right, so I think The Hobbit beats out The Fellowship, and again, slim margins all around. The Hobbit beats out The Fellowship for me because it is a contained story, and I think it is a banger from start to finish. It is
Mhm.
such an easy read. It's something I could recommend to my friend's 10-year-old daughter, which I literally did. I loaned her my copy, and my, bestie lawyer friend from work, right? I could
Mhm.
anybody. Like I would recommend it to anybody because not only is it beautifully written, it's super fun, it's funny, there are some serious themes in there as well, and it's just so much fun to read. I don't know. It's it's kind of in the way that I feel about the Fellowship of the Ring movie, where I just feel like it's perfectly like balanced as all things should be. I think The
Mhm.
Hobbit is that way for me because it's just there are no missed chapters. Every like it just the pacing is perfect, the characters are fun. I don't know. That's and I turns out Bilbo and I are like this. Like I loved Bilbo in that book. So yeah, that's where I landed.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Again, like Aldora is saying it, 4 and 3 were very close and 2 and 1 were very close. Same.
Same.
These are really hard. Like I feel as though we're splitting hairs here a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that Fellowship sold me amazingly on the world building. So again, the world building with a really big dose of strong character origins. So I don't think that I don't think that this whole experience would have been the same without a very strong reaction to the Fellowship read. So it set the anchor, it set the post for this is, be all in.
Yeah.
And I absolutely am. So that's why Fellowship gets my top spot.
It hooked you.
It did.
From the beginning. I can see it. I can totally
Yeah.
see it. Okay, so I'm going to try to initiate this giveaway. And if it doesn't work automatically, I'm just going to ask you all to type something in the chat and then I'll write it down and then do a drawing because we're going to make this work. And if you want to know what it looks like, the stickers that I have look like our little logo. So if you want a But Are There Dragons sticker that looks like that, I'm going to everybody cross your fingers that this works. I clicked. Okay, come on. It says giveaway started. You can do this. Oh man, Eldora just I thought it was gonna work. See, I was worried that it would be hooked up to my other YouTube channel because you know me. I can only have many YouTube channels. What's up, Random Noman? So yeah, I don't think it's gonna show up on there. So what I'm going to do is ask anybody who wants to be entered to win a sticker. And we're going to do 2, and this is just going to be the first one. The next one will be later on in the stream. Type your favorite book. Which one was your favorite book of the 4 that we did? Hobbit, Fellowship, Two Towers, Return. And if you've already done it, I'll count it because I know Eldora already did it. I will write your username down. And then you have to be willing to be available on Discord or reach out to me in DM somewhere else and give me your address, and I will send you a sticker if you win. So I'll do a random number generator to pick. So we've got Eldora already. We've got Dana Lou. And holler if I miss anybody, but
I will.
Okay, so Narita says my eternal cop-out, it's one book. All 4 of them? Okay, Fellowship. There we go. Narita decided the sticker was worth it. Not All Who Wander says Fellowship.
Yeah, it's hard to pick.
It is hard to. I mean, Fellowship is so strong, but my feelings aren't hurt at all that you're all siding with Jessica. I'm not allowed. Oh, since you're not allowed. Okay,
I never said that.
Yeah,
it's a random number
generator, and there's multiple stickers to give away. So whoever wins the first one, don't enter to win the next one, obviously. Okay.
And normally I would be in chat hyping you all up, but do give us a like and a follow if you're interested. I know we are going to be on a little bit of a hiatus while Kritter, changes her entire life, but we will be back.
Yeah. And just if Jessica decides, and it's going to be wholly up to her to do other books that aren't Tolkien related while I'm away, I want you all to know that there will be no hard feelings on my end. We already talked about it, that I'm totally cool with that. Yeah.
If folks have suggestions on things they might be interested to see us do, whether it's me while Critter's on hiatus or both of us when she returns, we're always open to feedback too. It can be a little difficult for us to find property that one of us hasn't read and the other one has. So
it could be, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. So,
and Not All Who Wonder. I know Lord of the Rings is one book, but The Hobbit is a part of our mix, right? So that's why we have to split it all up. So all right.
Okay.
While I'm gonna wait like 2 more minutes at my time, 8:26. We'll call it. We currently have Eldora, Dana Lou, Narita, Not All Who Wander, and Random Noman entered in the giveaway.
Yep. That's everybody I saw in the chat.
Perfect. Okay. So I don't know. What else do you want to talk about? I know we have our MVPs. We have our sign-offs, but I feel like the sign-offs we do last, obviously.
Yep. I don't know if anybody who's in the chat wants to take a guess at who they think our top MVP is for Return of the King. If anybody wants to drop their guess in chat, they're welcome to.
Okay. We do have actually, you know what I have? This is perfect. Jessica put something together, and I think now is a perfect time to play it because because then we can have the end of that be the end of the giveaway entries.
Sure.
So Jessica went and pulled some of the clips that we've been posting on like TikTok and whatnot from streams past, and they're all in this cute little compilation video that we have now. So I'm going to...
The production value is really low, you guys, so manage your expectations. But I did my best with my limited skills.
I think it's great, and it's a podcast, so you know what? Like, what matters is the audio more than anything else, and I think it's lovely. Okay, so I'm going to... let's see. All right, that should work. Wait, can I full screen it? I thought I did that before, but no. Okay, that's fine. Sorry, guys. All right, I just want to make sure it's good for you. Show on stream.
There it is.
Yes, there it is. And then I'm going to play it.
The Black Rider in the book has a much more advanced vocabulary than how they are portrayed in the movie.
Sniffing, screaming. Sniffing,
and
screaming.
Just Shire and Baggins over and over again.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I love that you cut those in because that's exactly what I was thinking of.
They knocked on the door and said, "Open in the name of Mordor." And I was like,
who's going to open that? Only Dark Friends.
Mordor PD, open up. I don't know.
Mary, who we haven't met yet in the book, but we keep hearing little snippets of in the prologue, is both the expert on pipeweed and also quite sure and proud that hobbits were the first folk to decide to smoke it. Other people were familiar, but they were the ones that were like, we're gonna light this on fire and inhale it, right? The movies are just pure farmer maggot slander, right? Because he, like, in this chapter, kind of saved the day. So, Don, is there anything Gandalf can't do?
Fly.
Oh, okay. Fair.
I was going to say answer a direct question, but Legolas nerding out about the trees, rolling right into Gimli talking about how incredible the caverns of Helm's Deep are, and them making a pact to vacation together to visit their favorite places when peacetime
and then they did it.
And then they did it. And it made me so
Flotsam
happy.
And Jetsam. So the first time I ever heard those words, this is not in my outline, but I just thought of it, was, I believe that was Ursula's,
to be fair, it taught me a lot of new words too.
Names in The Little Mermaid.
Yeah, totally.
I thought they were just names. I didn't know they meant anything.
Oh.
Yeah. And so then
Oh, and that the tower is 50 fathoms tall. So
math.
That's like 60
fantasy
feet.
math.
Sorry, 300 feet. There we go.
I was like,
that makes more
60
sense. 300 feet. So that's like 30 stories. That's really, really effing tall.
That's a football field, right?
Yes.
That's 100 yards?
100 yards. Yep.
Okay. It's like, yeah. Pretty tall.
Believe it or not, I had to wait for my brain to go from vertical to horizontal to be like, yes.
That tracks. Yeah. Yes, I believe that's true.
I am somebody who has to jump in the map like Joey in Friends. I am that person.
That I'm a lawful good. So yeah. I think my alignment is like, no, that's
still
not a fair
bothers
question.
me.
And also
I know.
the fact that you refused to tell them what was in your pocket after the fact, very low. Like I was really annoyed by that. Did that bother you at all?
I think that this is a great question because as soon as you mentioned it, I was like, whoa, here's where our lawful good versus lawful neutral really, really shows.
Just cut in because I also had that written down, but like the particular line that was in, I thought was a perfect little piece of literary umami, as we call it. Yeah. So the Raven recommends peace with the men of Dale, old bird wise, though he notes it would likely cost Thorin in gold. Thorin responds angrily that no one will get his gold. Yeah, so he had me going there when he gave Bilbo the mithril, reassured him about his share. I was like, okay, Thorin's really,
So again, we're getting wisps and references to that very magnanimous Thorin that I think I made up. I think I made him up.
Fake news, not real Thorin. This is Thorin. This is Thorin who's like, nobody gets my gold. This is my gold.
The way that he doubles down on the whole ain't nobody touching my stuff really does not pass the vibe check at all.
Major ick. That is like if nothing else. Even the guy who plays Thorin in the movies at this point is an ick. Eagles are the Fifth Army, correct?
No, it
I
was
still think this is right.
the wild wolves, the goblins.
That's why I had to put it in.
So they were calling the goblins and the wargs as two separate armies.
Even though they were literally... Okay, so I'm going to push back on that. I know, I believe you, but like the goblins are riding the wargs and we get a whole separate fleet of eagles. So why would the eagles not be the Fifth Army?
It's the kind of day I was having when I read this
Why
part.
indeed?
But for you to have had a letter for 3 months. 3 months.
Oh, it hurts. It hurts.
It stings. It burns.
Yeah. Like definitely leave by the end of July. Is what this letter says.
This is September, by the way, in case anybody forgot. Like
late September. Almost September.
The last week in September.
And you know what's so funny to me is that the reason that Mary knows about the ring, it goes back to the Sackville Bagginses.
Sackville Baggins.
They ruin everything.
We came so far.
Ruiners.
Not an extreme planner, so
absolutely.
I've got questions for you. So I hope that's okay.
Bring it.
Okay, nice.
There we are, you guys.
I love it. All right, we're gonna hide that again, and we're back. Hilarious. I still doesn't make sense to me that the Eagles aren't the Fifth Army. I think they are. I will die on that hill, or that eyrie, as some might say.
I think when you get to the afterlife, I'm just gonna want to be a fly on the wall when you confront Tolkien about it.
Fair enough. I will be like, okay, let's talk about it. I know
if anybody would, it's you.
Okay, so I said at the end of the thing we were going to do the drawing. We've got 5 people entered so far. As you can see, they are all in a list, and we're going to consider them all in order. Okay, I've got a random number generator right here. It's 1 through 5. 8 is the current selection because it started at 10. So I'm going to press it. Doop. 5. So we've got Random Gnomon. You won. Congratulations. There will be another giveaway. We'll say in 10 minutes. Okay. So Random Gnomon 1-1. Very excited.
Aldora thinks we should have timed the read to correspond with their trek from the Shire. Brilliant idea. Had it even occurred to us.
I don't know if that would have been like too fast. No, because it was like a year.
It was a year,
so
and we wound up in under a year, even with The Hobbit.
Right. So yeah, I guess if we wanted to be like, we could have maybe done it. Maybe.
Baby Kritter would have interfered.
He would have. Yeah, probably. Okay, so do we want to do the MVP?
Sure.
Talk about the MVP. Okay.
I saw some good guesses in chat. I will say that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people who made it into the MVP. And there's essentially 3 ties.
True.
Yep.
So we've got some guesses. We've got Samwise.
Mm-hmm.
We've got, I saw another one.
Yeah, I'm not logged in as a host. I can't help with this. I'm sorry.
Oh, here we go. We've got another.
Mm-hmm.
Aragorn or Sam, perhaps. That's all I got. Okay, so
I think that's what we got, yeah.
Hey, Brian Lehman, what's up?
Welcome aboard.
Okay, so we're about to do our MVP for the Return of the King, and then what's going to be fun is I've got all of our past Lord of the Rings numbers, so we can tally who's the ultimate MVP, which I think is interesting. Okay.
Dana Lou just weighed in.
Samwise and Gandalf are possibilities. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Should I show it or should we?
Well, I was gonna. I don't mind doing tie for third. You want to do tie for second, and then do it that way?
Yeah, I think that's a good call.
Okay. So our third tie is a 4-way tie, and it is between Theoden, Éowyn, Merry, and Frodo, which makes me so sad. But we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about some MVP fallout.
Mm-hmm.
So that was our 4-way tie,
For
and
third.
they each had 1 vote.
Yeah, which is wild to me. The fact that Éowyn only had 1 vote.
The fact that Frodo only got one
true.
vote in the entire season.
True.
I checked that math a few times.
Yeah, but he didn't throw the ring in the fire. Sorry.
Sorry, Narita.
Sorry. Okay. So, how do we feel about these? Theoden had a pretty epic moment. That makes sense. Merry did really well once they got back to the Shire. Frodo was the ring bearer. And then no, I'm kidding. I know. And
it feels so dismissive now.
And then Éowyn had the epic moment too. So, like, yeah, they deserved some recognition for sure.
Yeah. And these are just the straight counts. That doesn't include any honorable mentions, which we were much more liberal with this season.
Yeah. Frodo did make it on the list. He was number 3.
One vote.
I
voted for him on the last episode.
I did.
So at least somebody did.
He had a really strong last episode.
He
I stand
did.
by that vote. And I'm glad that I gave it to him. I don't know that I realized we didn't vote for him at all this book.
No. It's crazy to me as Kritter and I were back and forth today setting up documents and stuff and just seeing Frodo has a marked lack of votes in general for being the ring bearer.
Yeah. Yep, he did his best.
He did.
Anyways, what about tied for second?
Tied for second, we have each having 2 votes. Gandalf and Arwen. So Gandalf, both times Gandalf got nominated was from you, Kritter.
Oh, and really? Arwen, no Gandalf votes from you?
No, none this read, which is wild. Yeah. And Arwen was episode 7, where we both felt that Arwen deserved a nomination.
It was one of those, like, it's interesting that Gandalf and Arwen are tied, right? Because of the scale of their participation in the books. But
very different.
Just based on how we split the reads up, right?
Yeah.
You can have a major advantage if you've got kind of a low key set of chapters. And that's exactly what happened with Arwen. Like, the competition was not steep. And she had a great contribution, but the fact that she's tied with Gandalf feels mildly wrong,
disproportionate if nothing else.
A little bit, yeah. So that's an interesting outcome, but it is what it is.
Yeah. And so that leaves us with 2 names who are tied for first, each with 4 votes. It is indeed Aragorn and Samwise Gamgee.
Yeah. Let me pull it up so you can all now see. Share. There it is. Okay, there they are. This checks out for me, right? This was definitely Aragorn's book, titular character, right?
Yep. They each had 1 honorable mention too. I was going to say we could use honorable mention to tie break. No, we can't.
Apparently not.
Yeah. You're right, Aldora. 100% right. Like, of course it was going to be them.
Had to be Aragorn and Sam.
Had to be.
Titular character and my personal favorite. So why would it not be? I'm curious. I know you have a spreadsheet, but were our Sam votes pretty well spread out? Like, was it 2 and 2, or was I?
It
way
was
too Sam heavy?
You and I each did Sam for episode 5 and episode 6. So
Nice.
episode 5, I think, is the close of. Nope, just kidding. It was back to back. So it was them going into Mordor, him rescuing
And then
Frodo,
yeah.
and then him saving Gollum, who essentially saved everyone.
The fires of Mount Doom. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That tracks.
Yeah. So it was really intense in that one section of the book.
Mhm.
And then just for fun, Kritter had done some work going back and looking at some past MVP stats. And
Mhm.
I went through, because of our conversation, I feel like the last rap stream, and wanted to see, now that I've read the whole series, who would my MVP picks be per book?
Mhm.
So I don't know if you want to share what you
So
pulled. Thank you. My brain just stopped working.
no, it's okay. I'm trying to find how to hide. Here we go. Hide that. Okay. So the thing that I was looking at was my project was to find the total big MVP, like the
Mhm.
MVP for the whole thing
Mhm.
based on our votes.
Mhm.
So I feel like we should do yours first. your
Okay.
particular MVPs.
So what I did, just to share with everybody in chat, I went through and I looked, and I started by looking at per book, meaning books 1 through 6. And then based on who I picked in the 2 books per book, then going from there.
Mm-hmm.
And all of you obviously understand what I mean. So going all the way back to Fellowship, which has book 1 and book 2 in it. I had picked for the book 1, the first half of Fellowship, I put Gandalf / Aragorn. I was kind of on the fence, but I feel like it's at the beginning. It's really early for both of them, but they're both kind of instrumental in the staging of the story. So I was a little on the fence at that point. And then I looked at book 2, and I was like, I think Frodo has to be my MVP for all of the action that happens in the second half of Fellowship, because that's him volunteering to take on the quest and
Yeah.
go on this journey. So then looking at those together and the action of everything that happened in Fellowship, I picked Gandalf as my MVP for all of Fellowship, because he was so instrumental in staging and setting the course.
Yeah.
And it took somebody as overpowered as Gandalf to beat the Balrog. The quest would have died in infancy without him to take on the Balrog. So my choice for Fellowship for overall MVP based on the book, as opposed to our read increments, is Gandalf.
Okay. I think that's totally fair.
Yeah.
What about book 2?
Book 2, for the first half of the Two Towers, I definitely picked Merry and Pippin. I know
Yeah.
we're not keeping score. We don't have to worry about splitting votes. So I'm saying Merry and Pippin, because that obviously the first book of the Two Towers is almost entirely about their journey with Treebeard and everything that they're doing, how they influence that, how they influence the Entmoot and the individual effects that they had on the story. I feel like it's Merry and Pippin for the whole of book 3, the first portion of Two Towers.
Okay.
For book 4 of the Two Towers, I picked Smeagol.
You would. Okay. Why?
I picked Smeagol because he's so pivotal to the action in the second half of Two Towers. So his pursuit, his choices, and the way that he led them into Shelob's lair were crucial to the story, and ultimately found them a different path that otherwise they might not have made it into the realm of Mordor. Now, granted, his motives were nefarious, but
Yeah.
A lot. Like
A lot, yeah.
I've never claimed that Smeagol was a good creature. So that was how I felt. And then looking at the two towers as a whole, I'm back to Samwise. Again, I go back to the importance of the quest for the ring. And Sam's choices at the end of that book affected whether or not the story continued. You know, if Sam had not, I think that's the name of the last chapter, is the choices of Samwise Gamgee, and
perfectly named.
I can't escape that. So Samwise was my pick for overall for the two towers because of how crucial he was.
Perfect. You know, I'll always back you up on that one.
I figured you'd be okay with it.
Yeah,
I had to throw a little Smeagol at you to set you off guard.
Yeah, just knock me off guard a little bit. Yeah.
And then for book 3, if I look at the first half of Return, again, I wind up picking Gandalf. He is just so instrumental in keeping everybody else afloat long enough for the quest to reach its conclusion. He's so instrumental, Beacon of Shining Light on the battlefield, saving Faramir, doing all of these different things that make it a world worth coming back to.
Yeah.
And then for book 6, I have Samwise / Frodo.
And this is where you're trying to make up for the fact that you didn't vote for Frodo at all.
Because I feel bad, because Frodo really did make an incredible sacrifice. And he did make that journey just as much as Samwise made that journey. He faltered at the end, but does that undo every sacrifice, every step along the way? I don't think that it does. I don't want to live in a world where it does.
No.
But it was through the choices of Samwise Gamgee that the quest was ultimately successful. But if it weren't for Frodo, Samwise wouldn't have been there. So they're a very tangled knot. I think somebody in chat made a comment about how it's very muddled because they're always together. They are a package deal. And so for book 3, I still go Samwise.
Okay.
Because he does the whole journey, and he's the herald that's going to continue the story so that the memory isn't lost, and so that it was all worthwhile going into the new age. So those are my overall picks.
Okay. Well, that is interesting, especially given what I just calculated, which is the overall score winner, right? Because you in our spreadsheets, as you've seen, it's like who I voted for, who Jess voted for, if we had a guess who they voted for, right? So we have all those numbers from past seasons. So if you have a guess, anybody who won overall, you can put it into the chat. But I will do a little bit of a countdown. So you might be wondering who won. Who was the least successful Hobbit? And I will tell you that, in fact, and we're not doing The Hobbit because this is just the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Right.
Interestingly enough, Merry and Bilbo tied for least voted Hobbit. Merry got 3 and Bilbo got 3 as well.
Okay.
And I think Bilbo got his at least one of his during the Council of Elrond, because he was like, well, I guess I can take the ring. And we just really liked that.
And because he had been through it, like he knew what a perilous thing that was.
Yeah.
Whereas in the moment, Sam, Frodo, Merry, and Pippin do not know.
Yeah.
Bilbo does.
Yeah. And
he still volunteered.
If you'll recall, the season MVP based on votes from Two Towers, which is so funny to me, was Pippin, but he did not. He Oh, okay. Well, actually, he did beat Frodo. So Frodo's next for the Hobbits. Frodo got 4 votes throughout the entire trilogy. 4 votes for the entire trilogy, which is just really funny. To me, I mean, not funny. It's interesting. It's interesting stuff. But yeah, so Frodo got 4. Pippin got 5, and I think you all know that Sam's going to be up at the near the top at the very least. So I'm going to leave him till the end. Another very honorable mention goes to, well, Treebeard and Galadriel and Faramir all got 2 votes total. So good for them. You love to see it, especially because you know me, I freaking love Faramir now. Again, I was reminded how amazing he is. Of course, we have some like randos who got 1 vote that include Theoden and Eowyn, which, like, you know, they didn't spend as much time in the series, so of course that's
Arwen got 2 as well.
Arwen did get 2, which still is kind of like she got. I'm no hate, but she did get a really lucky pull.
She did not have a lot of active participation in the story. You know,
No,
I was left
didn't.
wondering until the last like 2 episodes whether she was consenting. So, you know.
Yeah. So what's interesting is primarily because he didn't get any votes in the 2 towers, Aragorn took 3rd. Like, even though he took 1st in Return of the King, tied for 1st in Return of the King, Aragorn took 3rd overall with 6 points. 4 in the Return of the King and 2 in Fellowship.
Gotcha.
So I think, as many of us probably expected, the top 2 were Sam and Gandalf. And it ended up being not that close. And I think it's because Gandalf only took 2 in Return of the King. So Gandalf got 2nd place with 9 points, which is a solid number. But nothing to my boy Sam, who took 11 points. Yeah, he always, his worst season, he got 2 points. He got 4, 5, and 2. And I guess it was all, that was 2 towers also, which is so funny, actually. No wonder it's my least favorite one. Or no, Return's my least favorite. No, 2 towers is my least favorite. So yeah, no wonder, because Sam didn't do as much. So anyways, overall, But Are There Dragons MVP seems to align with Jessica's conclusion that Sam is number 1, because he won 2 of your books, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, he won 2 of your books overall. So
yeah,
it makes sense. Whether we look at it points wise, whether we look at it Jessica book by book wise, that's how it goes.
Yeah. I will say that is probably the biggest revelation about this read, now that I've come to the end of it, is that it turns out that for me, Frodo is not the hero of this story. Frodo is a hero because of what he did, but he is not the hero of Lord of the Rings. And that is not a thing I was expecting to learn on this read.
Yeah. It's so funny too, looking at, like, and no hate to Elijah Wood. He did an incredible job. But when you look at the movie posters, right? Like Frodo, front and center, Sam kind of behind him, whatever, which is kind of, you know, that's how Sam would have wanted it. But at the same time, when you think about it, like, Sam has always been my favorite character. And he, you know, I feel really justified in that opinion because he's so good. In so many ways, and just lovely. Okay, so I think it's time for my second and final sticker giveaway. So what should we have them type in the chat this time? Should we do their MVP, their personal MVPs, or
for
something else? For the whole trilogy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
If you would like to be entered in a drawing to win a But Are There Dragons sticker that looks just like that, and I will mail it to Europe. So whoever, like, feel free to enter.
I mean, I happen to be going to Europe, so I could drop
Oh.
it local post.
Well, actually, because it's just paper, it should only be like $1.50 to ship. So
Okay.
it's totally worth it. Let me know your fave, and I'll write your. We got Dana Lou. We've got Not All Who Wander. I'll write you
Yep.
down, and we will do another random number generator.
I do want to give acknowledgement to Aldora. My biggest minor character shout out was for Baragond. Absolutely. Baragond got
Amen.
honorable mention in episode 3. And that was another character moment that I didn't know I was missing until I got it. And I loved Baragond.
Yeah.
Aldora also picked Samwise, as did Brother Zachariah. Lots of Sam love in the chat tonight. I'm good with it.
Totally good with it. All right. So I've got Dana Lou, Not All Who Wander, Brother Zachariah, and Aldora so far. Yeah.
Good that's
vibes all
true.
around.
And Not All Who Wander is going to be in Prague. So
that's fun.
Yeah.
Perfect. Narita. Okay, I'm gonna share that on the screen. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, popping it up. Narita
In this essay, I will.
says, I definitely agree Frodo isn't the hero, but in my opinion, he is the character most tied to the theme of unglorious heroism. And in this essay, I will. Okay, I'm gonna count you as having entered, just based on that little essay.
Narita, 10 of 10 would read, because I agree there's a whole extra weight to the idea of him being the face of that quest, and the weight that he had to carry, represented as a physical weight of carrying the ring itself, right? Like, absolutely. And that's why I was saying I don't think the fact that he faltered at the end negates the bravery or the sacrifice of everything else he did leading up to that.
No, he did an incredible thing, without a doubt. Could he have done it without Sam? No. When we prove that. But no, nor could Sam probably have done it without him. And so they are so intertwined, enmeshed, whatever you want to call it.
They're linked.
That you have to give Frodo his props. And he was the one that probably made me cry, along with Sam, the most in the end, right? And you saw how the journey affected him more deeply than any of the others, as it was obviously appropriate to do, because he was the one carrying the ring most of the time. So anyways, yeah, love me some Frodo, don't get me wrong, but I
would say that, having read it now, seeing how far his progression was, so again, a nuance that wasn't included in or at least I didn't get from my watching of the movies, was there was a scene in Fellowship before, when Bilbo left him the ring, where he was saying he had wished that Gollum had just been killed, like somebody had just killed him. And so for him to be coming from that place of no mercy, no empathy whatsoever, to where he got to at the end, is an incredible arc.
Yeah. Agreed. Oof. That's a literary degree dissertation topic right there. Yeah. I agree completely. Actually, I took a media criticism class in college, and one of the things I decided to do, or no, one of the first movie that the teacher showed us was The Fellowship of the Ring, which was so interesting. And we wrote a whole essay critiquing the movie. And of course I was like, no, it's flawless. But not really. But still, it's interesting. We also talked about in that class, the hero's journey, and how the Fellowship, and generally Lord of the Rings, is such a perfect execution of it, I guess. So yeah. Anyways, much love to these stories. Insane love, for sure. Okay, so I think I have everybody that has entered. Yeah. Dana Lou, Not All Who Wander, Brother Zechariah, Aldora, and Arita. That's another 5 list of 5. Let me pull up the RNG here. Okay. So this is the list. So you all see. Boop. Proof. Don't copy my handwriting. So we're going to generate the number. Boop. 2. Not All Who Wander. Okay, there we go. Congratulations on All Who Wander. You have won
Congratulations.
a But Are There Dragons sticker. So I don't know that I'll be able to get it to Jessica in time for her to bring it to you to Prague. So I may still have to ship it to you, but we can work that out in the DMs. Okay.
Yes.
I'm happy that you're here in the chat. Oh yes, this is like just, plugging WotCon, a Wheel of Time convention made for fans by fans. You should go next year. It's in July. Okay, so is there anything else, Jess, that you want to cover before we talk about the finale? The sign offs, because that would be the end of the stream. I don't want to end it prematurely.
No, I mean, just it was so much better than I thought it could be. It was a much richer experience. It was just incredible, and it was so much more than I even thought it would be. So that's all.
Okay. Well, I'll just say that I'm so happy on that fateful night at JordanCon or WotCon, wherever we were. JordanCon, where we went to tapas and started talking about the fact that you had never read them, and I said, hey, if you read them, we'll do a podcast. And you said, bet. And that was the beginning of a beautiful journey. I'm so happy it happened that way. I think it's so funny. That was the conception of But Are There Dragons? And it's been a fun ride, and it feels like it's like the end, but it is a end.
Right.
And it's been great, and I'm so happy I've reread them now, and they're right up there with my favorite books. They're just so close. How would you say, like, where are they for you? Are they near the top? Are they just great books that you wouldn't rank super, like, how do you feel about them?
I would say I say when you get into the top 5, it gets really murky for me. Yeah. And I'm certainly subject to recency bias, like at all times.
No, I feel you.
I definitely think they're one of the top 5 series of my life. I can easily say that.
Yeah.
And I think it was completely worth it. I'm so glad that I did. I don't know if it would oust my number 1 of all time.
Yeah, it didn't. Aldora is asking, Wheel of Time or Lord of the Rings, you can only read one ever again. And that, to me, honestly, is easier than it should be, because you're saying I can watch Lord of the Rings. I'll read Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
But no, Wheel of Time's got a super, super special place in my heart. So that one's my number 1. But I will say that Lord of the Rings, for me, I can confidently and safely say that it is my number 2, and it is not far behind Wheel of Time. I think
it's really close for me. It's really close.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said for me about having relatable female characters that are like really important. Grant, I'm not diminishing Galadriel or Eowyn or Arwen or any of them, but like they weren't as inextricably intertwined with the plot, or they weren't people that you could necessarily relate to like the women in the Wheel of Time are. And I also just think that the Wheel of Time has I'm trying to remember the quote on the back that's like, Jordan has mastered the world that Tolkien began to reveal, or something like that. Basically, Jordan's world building is just massive in scale, and it's just such a pleasure to read it every single, like, I could reread those books literally every year. And I'm sure I probably could also reread Lord of the Rings, but there's just more that I relate to, I guess, in the Wheel of Time books. That's the big difference.
Yeah, I mean, the stories themselves are a product of their time. And so I think those are the only real limitations to the story. I think the idea of a mind like Tolkien existing with our sensibilities today is a very exciting one, because these stories are incredible, even given those limitations.
Yeah, he's a master. That's not an exaggeration. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm really glad that you did this with me, by the way. It's been a pleasure. And
Thank you.
And yeah, it's been amazing. So the last thing that we do in every episode, other than pick an MVP, which we've already gone over, Sam, is
Sam for the win.
Sam for the win. Just, you know, statistically the best is our sign off. And so I think what we do is we'll pick the number one sign off for Return of the King. And then I actually don't know that I have the past winners with me right now. So we can just pick the one for Return of the King. That'll be fine.
Okay.
And then maybe do a Twitter poll after the fact.
Sure.
About
when we can like check the notes.
best one.
Yeah.
And so okay, so let me see if I can show this. I want to like zoom in on it actually, so it's just focused.
I kind of have it ready to
go share it. Can you can share it, can't you?
I understand. Everybody bear with me. Window. I want to share this.
Okay, I'm going to show it. Boop. There it is. Okay.
Is that large enough for people to read? I'm hoping so.
If it's not, I can hide us completely, which should make it a little larger. I think I can hide us completely.
Way to go, Aldora. You're already on book 10. Excellent. Spread the good word. And I hope you're enjoying it. Obviously, we
keep getting people to read it.
We joke about it so hard, but obviously the real hope is that you enjoy it. Oh, good. You can read it. Great.
Perfect. Okay. So we have 8. Obviously, we had 8 episodes this season, which has been pretty average for us. I think we've had like 8 to 10, depending on the book. And I can't even remember which one of us picked which one. So this is good. Yes,
it's going to be fun.
It doesn't really matter. So want to trade off reading them?
Sure. I think I picked number 1, so I'll read number 1.
Okay.
Okay. So, and you can just put in chat the corresponding episode number. Don't feel like you have to type it out. So for episode 1, our sign off was farewell, listeners, ride unto great renown.
For 2, once again, we thank you, listeners of the pod. Good fortune go with you for your support and friendship.
Episode 3, you are weary. Rest a while and take food and be ready when we return.
Episode 4, this is our tale and it has ended for now.
Episode 5, well, here goes, listeners. We'll have to leave you for a bit and trust to luck. See you next week.
Episode 6, we're glad that you're here with us, dear listeners, here at the end of all things.
Episode 7, goodbye, dear friends. Not for the last time. Not yet.
And episode 8, in the immortal words of Gandalf, go in peace. I will not say, do not weep, for not all tears are an evil.
Yeah, same here, Aldora. I'm like, why do I want to cry? Quit it.
I know. The one for 7 is so like thematically appropriate because it was her second last episode. Not for the last time. Not yet.
Yeah, that was your pick. You picked 7. I picked 8.
I stole it from the book. I can't pretend like I wrote it.
We stole them all from the book.
True. Thankfully, there were farewells in almost every like read, which was perfect. 4 sounds so like the end of a Shakespeare play. What is it?
Yeah.
It's our tale and it's ended for now. True. It kind of does. It kind of does.
Narita voted for 3.
Okay. Let me pull out the old notebook, the WatCon notebook. I'm gonna just 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. So we have 3 has 1 vote.
Dana Lou for 8.
8.
Brother Zachariah for 8.
8.
Not All Who Wander is voting for 7.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
It is.
Which one's my favorite? Let me think. I'm trying to think because eventually we could pick one of them as the actual sign off that we use on the podcast, right? Like permanently. I don't know that that'll ever happen. I kind of like picking a different one every time,
Mhm.
but
I don't want it to be sad. So like,
I know. I will not say do not weep. And imagine if we're reading like I've never read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So imagine we're reading that and at the
Really?
end of really? Yeah. Yeah. So imagine we're reading that, which I understand is a relatively goofy book.
Mhm.
And it, like at the end of a goofy chapter, we're like, in the immortal words of Gandalf,
Mhm.
I will not say do not weep. Why would they weep? Because it's, you know. Anyways, we are still sharing. I hope you know this.
Oh, I forgot.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
I wanted to go over and look at the other quotes because I only have one other season of quotes in this spreadsheet because I did not get myself sorted.
Okay, Aldora
picked number 6.
I need to pick.
Here at the end of all things gets me, and that's hard.
Yeah, it's a Sam
'Cause that-
Frodo.
Yeah, because it resonates, but it's sad.
Here at the end of Goodbye to Friends, not for the last time, not yet. That one's so good because it's like it leaves something, you know, basically like saying, you know, until next week. Tune in next week for the next episode of But Are There Dragons? I don't know. Do you have a vote?
I do like that one because it is a little bit more upbeat.
Yeah.
I also kind of like number 5 for that. It
That's
also
fair.
happens to be wait, who is that quote from? Is that hold on. Oh, I can't. I'm sharing my screen. Leave you for a bit and trust to luck. I think that was something that Sam said to Frodo as he walked away.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Huh.
Okay.
I think my vote is 7.
Voted. Okay.
What's your vote?
I think 7 is a better sign off. Like it's a stronger sign off. I just like 5.
And for me, I love 8, but yeah, I think as far as sign offs go, it's got to be 7. But what's yours?
Yeah, no, 7. It's got to be 7.
Okay.
That's really good. And then I do want to go back and compare to the ones that we've used for past seasons and see if anything else is a contender, because I'd be fine with that becoming our permanent sign off.
Oh, okay. Do you want me to stop sharing or you want to just flip over to it while on the screen?
I don't mind. I think everybody in the chat's had a chance to read it. So yeah.
Yeah.
What did we have? So, and this is Two Towers. I don't have anything on this document from Fellowship, unfortunately.
Okay.
So I can make it a little bigger.
Trying to remember which one of these won.
Oh, I made you do the Smeagol impersonation. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
That was one thing I wanted to get into the video that I didn't quite get enough in was impressions.
Oh yeah, that would be. Well, we'll have our TikTok account. We can get a compilation at some point.
I think go with the goodwill of all good men and women. I think that was you, and you had modified it from the read. So whatever we were reading, so it was, next to the last episode in Two Towers.
Okay.
I do like this
I
one
like 3.
too.
I was just about to say.
Okay.
If you can foresee whither their road will lead them till they come to its end, and this is our end until next week. I really like that one. That one's a good one.
Yep. That's a really good one too.
Does it beat season 4? Does it beat Return of the King? I don't know.
Copy.
That's a longer one.
Do a little.
Not for the last time. Not yet. I don't know. It's just It's short and sweet.
Yes, and that's actually a good thing with
Right.
sign-offs.
Right. What do you guys think? Do you like the Two Towers one or the Return one better?
Yeah. Dana Lou likes number 7.
I remember for last stream she liked shorter ones, so that makes sense.
Yep. This is very flowery and fun, but it's a mouthful.
Yeah. I feel like the Return of the King ones are all like there's so many bangers on this list. It would be hard to beat many of them.
I'd have to go back and see if I made a document. I don't know if I actually put the quotes on a document. I must have, but anyways.
Who knows? In the end, like where that ended up. It's been a while.
Yes.
It has been a while.
Yeah, Zachariah votes for number 7 as well. It's a really strong sign off.
It is. Feeling real good about that this time around. Wow. Okay. Is that it?
I think that's it.
Okay. Well, I don't have our normal sign off in front of me. Do you? Or we can just say use the one that won. Up to you.
I think before we go into our sign off, I would just, like we usually do, thank you guys so much for your participation, whether it's at the same time, not at the same time, in Discord, through comments, live streams, whether you're a first timer, a million timer, it doesn't matter. The engagement is awesome. It literally made all the difference to have all of you along. And I will get just a little mushy and say, thank you, Kritter. It was so much fun to do this project with you. And I know it's just a break, but thank you for being an awesome pod partner.
Back at you. It's as I said it earlier, it has been a pleasure, and I appreciate your dedication to it, and I love that we're kind of on the same page when it comes to like scheduling, and I like to think we're both very reliable, which is such a relief. Yes. So it's been really fun, and honestly, as far as like content creation goes, because I do like so much stuff. This is one of the things that I think of as like one of my cozy activities, because it's just so much.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it's like Tolkien's got such good vibes. We have such good vibes. It's just like low key, low stress. Been really great, and especially because we've got these people following along with us that have become our Lord of the Rings friends.
And I will tell you that we have talked about it, and if Silmarillion happens, it will only happen with the two of us. So no, reliability is hot, Dana Lou, 100%. Yeah, we've talked about it. We both really want to do the Silmarillion, so the hope is that we are going to do that. But we don't know what that looks like yet, but we will keep you all posted. So when we know, you will know.
Yeah. Be keeping an eye on Discord or socials or whatever. Just know that I won't be back for several months. So Silmarillion will not be happening for quite some time.
Several months.
Yeah. So don't buy it or anything if you don't own it yet, in the anticipation that it's going to happen soon, because I will be learning how to be a parent for the next while. But
we will take suggestions. Critter's Discord is the easiest place to drop it. I think most of you that are here do that, but you can also DM us, reach out to us on social media if you have an idea. If you have an idea for an IP that you'd like to see me do with somebody else while Kritter is on hiatus, as long as it's not the Silmarillion, I'll at least consider it.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay. All right. I made you start, so I'll stop. So just big thank you, big love, you guys. And don't be strangers on social media, on Discord, reach out, stay in touch. And I will just say goodbye, dear friends. Not for the last time. Not yet.